Hi, this is Kirk, the bariatric carnivore. I've had some interesting discussions of late with people that keep saying that I'm being a little too harsh on our medical establishment, that somehow they are really looking after us and that they're not a bunch of psychopaths. And frankly, I completely disagree. Well, I don't think they're personally psychopaths. I think we have a psychopathic system. A psychopath is person that works with callous disregard for other people. And the whole system works with callous disregard for you. So let's kind of go over them one by one. And let's start off with my favorite, Big Pharma. Big Pharma ain't looking after you. They are not trying to make you healthy. What they have found is there's no money in the cure. There's only money in treatments. And it is killing America's health system. The expensive drugs, when they are trying like crazy to keep off-label drugs out of the hands of physicians, is ridiculous. There's a ton of very good chemo drugs and other drugs that work very well. There are drugs that, for mental health issues that probably could be cured by diet and lifestyle changes, but the older ones seem to work better than the newest ones, but they are only pushing the latest and greatest and most profitable drugs that are still on patent. And frankly, it is terrifying, the callous disregard that Big Pharma often shows for their own patients. Take the drug Vioxx, one of my favorite examples. Here's a drug that they knew during the clinical trials was going to cause all sorts of heart issues and kill people. And they went ahead and released it anyway, despite knowing the horrible truth that people were going to die that were taking it because they thought they were having knee pain. It was an anti-inflammatory that seemed to work real well and helped a lot of people, relieve their pains. The problem is it also killed some of their own patients. And they did a cost-benefit analysis and realized, we'll make enough money from the people that don't die to more than make up for paying off those that do. And most of those people that die probably won't even know why they died, so we won't have to pay off all of them. So we'll actually make money on it. And they made that callous decision, knowing that people were going to die by their product. They're not looking after you. And I keep trying to explain this, and people for some reason, don't want to understand it. They think that pharmaceutical companies have a fiduciary responsibility to look after the health of their patients, and they don't. You've probably heard in the news about this big rash of different bacteria that are resistant to any of our known antibiotics. And you may be thinking, but we live here in the United States of America. Why aren't they producing new antibiotics? Because there's no money in it. That's why they're not investing in it. There's no money in cures. There's only money in treatments. You may have noticed a big rash of brand new vaccines that they are mandating for your kids. Why are they mandating vaccines for the kids? Because they're exempt from any future lawsuits. There's big money in vaccines, especially mandated vaccines. If you live in California, your kid has got a whole host of mandated vaccines that Big Pharma is getting paid for, and they have absolutely no liability for it. And if you think, well, you go to the court and they'll allow you to do that, that's backlogged up to 10 years. If you can prove that the vaccine caused an injury that happened 10 years ago. It is a ridiculously horrible system, totally corrupt, completely psychopathic, working against you and your health. And they're under no obligation to tell you that you could actually cure most of the diseases that they're pushing pills for through diet and lifestyle. Their job is to look after their shareholders and push more pills. And frankly, if you look at their ads, I want you to think this. Every time you see a pharmaceutical ad, realize that half the ads that you see are for products that do virtually nothing. The restless leg syndrome ads and other stuff like that are for drugs that have marginal benefit. They spend the most money on drugs that have the least amount of benefit. It is a completely psychopathic system that ain't looking after you and your health. Well, okay, if Big Pharma isn't looking after our health, what about the hospitals? Oh, look, big medicine is exactly the same way. Look at where they are investing their money. Are they investing money in their infrastructure? Are they investing money in their people? Are they getting more doctors to treat more people? Are they spending more money on quality nurses? Are they getting more and better equipment to better take care of you? No. The biggest investment in big hospital chains right now is in MBAs. People that are executives in the corporation that can drain out every cent from patients, from government, from insurance companies and managed care. They have virtually, even though there's been an explosion in hospital spending, they've spent virtually nothing on getting new doctors. It is a psychopathic system too. They are not looking after your health. They are not trying to make you healthier. They're just trying to get more patients and more customers and getting as much money out of you and everybody else. They're constantly trying to cut deals with the government to get more funding for their stuff. Not for your health, but for their bottom line. I mean, after this whole COVID stuff, it was disgusting to me how many hospital administrators were getting huge 6-7 figure bonuses for all the money that they were able to get out of the government. Every time they could get somebody diagnosed as a COVID patient, they got a bonus. That's why and the mask mandates and keeping you away from your loved ones had nothing to do with your health or the health of the loved one. It had everything to do with complying with the federal guidelines so they could get more bonus money. Completely devoid of any compassion for dying people. It was all a pursuit of absolute greed for a bunch of bureaucrats that are not healthcare providers. These bureaucrats were all MBA. They had their masters in business administration and hospital care administration. They did not have medical degrees. These are not people that took the Hippocratic Oath. These are people that took an oath to their own bottom line and their own bonus structure. Well, if big hospitals aren't looking after you, gosh, certainly the food companies are looking after you. Don't make me laugh. Big food has no responsibility to make you healthy. If they did, they would not be selling this processed food. No, they're trying to produce highly palatable food that you find completely addictive. They spend a fortune on food techs that go through trying to find the bliss point, that magic point where there's this point where things are kind of creamy and salty and sweet and addictive. And if they get you addicted to their food products, if they can get you addicted to their chips, if they can get you addicted to their sugary soft drinks, they got a customer for life. And they will tell you, oh, we care about health, but it's not our fault that you're unhealthy. See, you need to eat less and move more. If you're fat, it's not our fault. They just claim that it's your fault because you're just not paying attention to the amount of calories that you've got. They're the ones who are promoting the idea that, my gosh, the whole thing comes down to calories in, calories out. That's right. 100 calories of a sweet, sugary soft drink is equal to 100 calories of quality meat or broccoli. And that's nonsense. But they keep promoting that idea. That's their job. Their job is to keep selling more slop to you. Like I said, they're they're part of a psychopathic system. I'm not saying that the executive at any of these major corporations is a psychopath. I'm saying the system is psychopathic because they're working in callous disregard for you. If they were honest, they would be telling you, don't eat our stuff, eat single ingredient real food. Okay, if that doesn't work, how about the government? Doesn't the government have an obligation to look after the people? How about the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration? Shouldn't they be looking after us? No, they don't. When you look at the Department of Agriculture, what their job is, and these are the guys that administer programs like food in the public schools, food for nursing homes, feeding our troops, feeding the people in prisons and all this type of stuff. And actually what their obligation is as an organization is to look after the producers. They're there to support big grain, the people that produce vegetable seed oils and sugar. Their job is not to look after you. Their job is not to look after the health of the citizens. Their food pyramid that they're putting out actually, is not healthy. Frankly, they know the science. They just choose to ignore it because it goes against their overall mission. You can't support big grain and be supporting a heart-healthy diet. And they know it. By the way, big meat isn't included in the Department of Agriculture, by the way. So, the whole system, again, is working with a callous disregard for you. And if you think that, the Food and Drug Administration is looking after Big Pharma and holding them accountable, guess where most of their budget comes from? Green lighting and getting through the regulatory process, more pharmaceuticals. They're doing it time and time again. Take a look at the latest Alzheimer's drug. Even though all the administrators that approved that drug said that this thing has practically no utility and will probably harm people more than it will help. Even though many of them saw lots of research that showed that going to a low-carb diet would actually do a lot more to help people with Alzheimer's and dementia than this drug would, they still approved it because Big Pharma pays the bills. The bulk of the budget is paid for by Big Pharma, and if they quit doing what they're doing, which is being a lapdog for Big Pharma, then Big Pharma is going to quit pushing through more drugs, which means their little fiefdoms go down the hill. They don't profit directly from it, but they also have a horrible revolving door where people that regulate them, Big Pharma, after a little while, after they get their ticket punched, they go to work for Big Pharma, and then they go talk to the next generation of people working in the government. We see it time and time again, and it's not looking after you guys. Sorry. Our government is not looking after your health. Their advice is completely wrong. Okay, if that doesn't work, how about the media? The media is supposed to be our watchdog. Here's something I want you to remember. If you are watching a TV show and it isn't costing you anything, you're the product. You're what they're selling. What they're doing is they're trying to build up a biggest audience as possible that they can sell advertising for. Who are the people that buy the most advertising? Gosh, Big Food and Big Pharma. When you're watching the news, keep it to a little check pad. And realize, okay, was that ad food? Big Food. Was that Big Pharma? And realize I'm the product. This is who they're selling it to, and they ain't biting the hand that feeds them. How many times have you seen ads that show how ineffective a particular drug is? Have you seen a TV show about that? How about the dangers of Big Pharma and what they're doing? How about bad health? Truly healthy diets and lifestyle. You don't see it because they're not biting the hand that feeds them. It was hilarious watching The Biggest Loser sponsored by Big Food and Big Pharma. And you see it all the time. So don't be thinking that the media is going to be there looking after you. Well, if I can't trust anybody else, I can always trust my doctor. Well, guess what? Your doctor ain't your doctor anymore. The vast majority, over 80% of them, work for big corporations. They're corporate cogs. They're part of big medicine. Remember everything I just said about the hospital system? Yeah, they're part of that. They ain't looking after you. They are following corporate orders. And I got bad news for you too. They're also incentivized to do things that are not necessarily in your best health interest. They're there to make sure you get flu shots because they get a bonus if a certain percentage of their patients get this. If a certain number of people take certain drugs, they get a bonus. I'm not saying that they are deliberately trying to hurt your health. They may think that this is actually maybe beneficial, but they are certainly incentivized to do things that are not working in your best interest in health. How many times have you gone to your doctor and been de-prescribed a maintenance medication? I'm waiting. I never was. They had me up to 10 medications. My gosh, you're not paying attention. Let's give you a drug for that. Gosh, I can't sleep. Let's give you a drug for that. Your blood pressure is now high. Let's give you a drug for that. On and on and on. Every time you go, they're trying to get you on a new drug. Let's give you, gosh, your cholesterol is a little high. Let's get you on a statin. Let's not look at any root causes for anything. Let's not talk to you about lifestyle interventions that might get rid of the overall cause. No, they're just pushing more drugs. I'm telling you, the establishment is working against you in every way, shape, manner, or form, and your doctor is part of that establishment. Well, my insurance company tells me that they want me to be healthy, so obviously they must be giving me good health advice. No. The bottom line of a health insurance company is to try to work with Big Pharma, getting their drugs at the lowest possible cost, and working with the hospital chains. And you will find out how much Big Pharma, Big Insurance cares about you when you really need them. And then you're going to find out they're going to nickel and dime you to death. And that is why the biggest cause of bankruptcies in the United States is medical care and medical emergencies. The majority of those people that get bankrupted that had medical emergencies were people that had insurance or thought they did. Look, your insurance company is not working hard to make you healthy despite whatever advertising they keep putting out. It ain't true. All these people are looking after their bottom lines. They're not looking after your health. So how do you fight the establishment? And frankly, I don't think you can. There are too many vested interests that have been pushing for far too long, and it ain't going to change, certainly in my lifetime, and probably not until the whole damn system collapses. Sorry, I've been working in this stuff for a long time. I can see some people making changes at the margin, but frankly, a complete horrible psychopathic system can't be fixed. So what can you do? Get out. Your only hope in this whole sick psychopathic system is to get healthy and get the heck out of it. And the way I keep trying to describe it to folks is simple. If you switch your diet, if you start getting a little bit more exercise, particularly weight-bearing exercise, just keep it simple, and you get some sleep, 90% of your health problems are going to go away. You're going to be able to deprescribe yourself from almost all medications. If you go carnivore, if you go keto, even if you're a type 2 diabetic, take medications, according to Vera Health studies, there's a very good chance that in less than a year, you'll be off your insulin. And if that's the case, you don't need your doc anymore, because you're no longer insulin dependent. You don't need Big Pharma anymore. You don't even need your insurance on a regular basis. And what I've done is when I got myself healthy and I quit taking all those medications, I switched my health insurance over to a catastrophic policy that only kicks in for very high dollar stuff. So I put 10 grand away in a medical IRA to take care of emergencies and to pick up the cost of the deductible. So I use tax deductible money, and that's just stored away, ready to go in case I need it. Hopefully I never do. And I've got a very low cost insurance program to cover catastrophic stuff. I save a fortune. Instead of spending 18 grand or so, well, it's not 18 grand, but it's a significant amount of money, over $900 a month for insurance, I spend less than 200 because I'm not part of the system. I don't go to the doctor unless, look, I had a cut, needed some stitches. I just went to urgent care and used my medical IRA to cover that cost. I don't have any real, unless my medical bills get catastrophic where there's something that's over $5,000 in any single year, I'm not touching my insurance. I don't care what they do. We all work out fine together, and that's great. That's the only way you can win this game, is just don't play. Pull yourself out of the system. Look, in this fight for our health, you are all alone in this. You're going to have to make up your own food choices. You're going to have to tell Big Pharma to bite you to get out of the hospital system, to get yourself healthy. That's the only way to win this game. And if enough of us do, that may actually bring down the end of the system, because if enough people ain't playing, they lose. It happens. Consumers win in the end when they quit playing. And it's possible to quit playing. And if you like this message, and if you like not being part of a system that is absolutely psychopathic and not working in your best interest, then like and subscribe. Learn how to get healthy. This is Kirk, the Bariatric Carnivore. We'll talk to you tomorrow.